The air tasted stale long before I noticed the shadows breathing. Not that I left often to compare, just quick dashes to retrieve grocery bags left by the door. Delivery drivers never knocked anymore. Too many months of me answering hollow-eyed and mute, probably. Rachel used to scold me for keeping the blinds shut. "It's like a tomb in here," she'd say, yanking them open. Now the dust motes swirl in razor-thin sunbeams, cutting through the darkness at 2037 p.m. Exactly. The faucet drips in Morse code. 3, fast, 2, slow. I've memorized it. Coincidence, obviously. Except my entire apartment hums now. Walls, floorboards, the back of my molars when I press my tongue to them. He arrived during the false dusk of a drawn curtain afternoon. No footsteps in the hallway, just 3 measured knocks. Through the peephole, his tie gleamed, beetle black. Too polished for the sour milk smell of my hallway. I opened the door a crack. Chain still latched, his smile stretched thin as a paper cut. "Consider this a tailored opportunity." Later, I'd lie awake parsing details, how his briefcase smelled like freezer burn, how the pen he offered me wept oily ink. But in that moment, all I heard was enough money to drown inks, and 1 year, and an address I already knew by heart. The locks clicked differently the next morning, stiffer. When I pressed my ear to the door, something pressed back, a faint, warm echo of breath. I told myself it was the wood contracting. Convinced myself right up until the walls began whispering. The whispers don't use words, not yet. They're static-laced murmurs, syllables frayed at the edges, crowding the crown of my skull. Too low to parse, too insistent to ignore. I chew ice cubes just to hear something solid. The freezer's light died weeks ago. My reflection glimmers faintly in its dented metal shelves, gaunt, oil slick, a face floating in void. The cold helps, until it doesn't. Until I realize the chill isn't spreading from the open freezer, but from behind me. A glacier burn creeping up my calves. Turn. Nothing but the kitchen threshold, framed in wallpaper that wasn't peeling yesterday. I press a palm to the floral pattern. It yields slightly, like cartilage. In daylight, that slivered 2037 p.m. knife, I find the photo. Wedged between the fridge and wall, curled at the corners. Rachel, mid-laugh on Coney Island, salt water sheening her shoulders. Except in this version, the Polaroid's lower third is blackened, as if something occluded the lens. Something upright. Humanoid, maybe. Hooded. My thumb brushes the stain, a tacky residue smelling of pennies and kerosene. 3 fast, 2 slow, my pulse impersonating the faucet, my breath the walls. The address he gave me is etched onto the photo's back in that same oily ink. I haven't left, haven't slept, haven't unclenched my jaw since the whispers mentioned her name. They didn't. You imagined. They didn't. The front door exhales when I pass it. A moist heat blooms through the peephole. I'm learning the geometry of dread, how a shadow can press without touching, how a home can become a lung, how you'll startle awake to your own voice chanting, "No!" Not empty. Never again. Tomorrow, I tell myself, swallowing the key's metallic tang, tomorrow I'll go. The key's teeth leave welts on my tongue. Not a metaphor. Flesh rises in soft ridges, mapping escape. I practice speaking around it, shaping muffled pleas to the sweating walls. "Who's there?" The syllables stick like wet paper. Midnight drags its nails along the stucco outside. The Polaroid lies face up on the floor now. Ritual or accident, I can't remember. Moonlight pools in the black stain. It's larger. The hooded shape leans forward, torso hinging impossibly, a shadow forced through the film's emulsion. 3 fast, 2 slow. The faucet's cadence shifts. It's closer, the collapsing drip of liquid hitting linoleum from knee height, not water. My fingers come away, iridescent. It strings between my knuckles like spider silk. Voices clarify. Not behind me, not around. Beneath, under the skin of the house. One is mine, or nearly, a worked chorus of tones I've swallowed for years. "You left the door open," it says, oily with sympathy. The street lamp flickers. Through curtains thin as cataract film, I glimpse the sidewalk. A figure stands beneath the sodium glow, head tilted upward. Rachel's sundress. But the neck elongates as I watch, vertebrae stretching, crown dissolving into the dark. Air thickens. The key slips down my throat. My hands scrabble at the doorframe, but the deadbolt's gone, screws weeping rust. 3 fast. The whispers sync with my pulse. 2 slow. Something turns in the walls, a wet tectonic shift. My palm opens. A nest of hair and teeth and bent brass glistens there, squirming. You're still holding the key, Rachel's voice whispers, tender as a bruise. The door exhales again. Hot, hungry. You promised. The house reminds me, floorboards softening like gums. Tomorrow I'll go. First, I'll need a key. My jaw locks. Words bleed into the wax building in my ears. The Polaroid stain spreads tendrils now, leaching up my ankles. Cold, viscous. Memories of Rachel pouring syrup on pancakes that last morning, how it clung to her wrists. The floor shudders. A wet, clicking tongue. You know where the key went. The house murmurs through the baseboards. My throat convulses. I can feel its teeth nesting in my esophagus, gnawing at something deeper than flesh. The bathroom mirror fogged for weeks after Rachel vanished. Now it's clear. Too clear. I turn, and the glass shows my spine, first cracked ribs blooming from it like mangled wings, each bone strung with filaments of iridescent sludge. 3 fast trips. My pulse hooks into the rhythm. 2 slow. A new sound beneath, a moist rhythmic suction. The floor sags under my heels, pulling like taffy. Photograph edges curl against my calves, dissolving on contact. The hooded figure's fingertips breach the surface now, obsidian splinters clicking against the linoleum in perfect time to my crumbling molars. Rachel, I croak. The street lamp dies. Her sundress floats outside the blackened window, sleeves fused to the glass. 7 vertebrae gleam where her neck should be, each strung with a pendant of my hair. I press a palm to the pane. It gives like gelatin. Through here, my own voice purrs from the walls. The radiator vents puff spores that taste of lavender and burnt wiring. Rachel's head cranes through the window's membrane, jaw unhinging. No teeth, just a keyhole, crusted with rust and honey. Turn me, it whispers. The house's breath rushes up through my ankles. My fingertip meets the keyhole in her throat. The rust flakes taste metallic as I pry my nail under it. Honey surges thick over my knuckle, scalding. Rachel's vertebrae rattle. The key isn't metal. It's the splintered molar I spat into the sink yesterday, nestled now in my palm, weeping yolk. I press it into the hole. It slots. Her windpipe rotates with a cellar door groan. My tendons fray like soaked thread, hands moving without me twisting. The floor slurps. My knees burrow into the linoleum, liquefying as they sink. A rift splits my sternum. Moss surges through the crack. I smell her shampoo. Hear the sticky pop of her Walkman buttons that afternoon. She played me the mixtape, drenched in static hiss. The house purrs through my unraveling veins. Mushrooms burst from my nostrils, velvet gills kissing her collarbone. I want to scream, but my tongue pools in my pelvis, molten and sweet. Mirror shards erupt from the ceiling. Each reflects a version of Rachel. No, May! 1,000 wet mouths stretched around keyholes. Our breath sinks. The air curdles. The molar key detonates, quietly, a chrysalis rupture. Her sundress drapes over my shoulders. My ribs click into place, wrong angles, familiar angles. Footsteps creak above us. Something is painting the ceiling with my marrow. Our voice shivers through the spores. You left twice, once by staying, once by fleeing. The last street lamp flickers. Alive again!